is awkward.
It is. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually meeting a girlfriend.
She booked her flight and left me the next morning. Am I who you want to be with? Am I your forever?
Do you feel like a man when you push her around? So dudes, welcome back to the #1 YouTube channel in the entire world. Today's a very special video because we were talking about Big Ed because he keeps making a bunch of oopsies. Liz actually broke up with him. If you guys are unfamiliar with what's been happening with Big Ed and Liz, definitely go watch my last video on the subject because I did a really good job of thoroughly explaining their relationship and their breakup and everything that happened. But it seems like now they're back together, which is shocking for everybody. It seems like this couple, if they were going to be a movie, I think they would be the never-ending story, but except for Falcor is Teddy, which is kind of cute actually because Teddy's kind of cute. I think he's the only part about Ed's segment that I actually like. In our last video covering this couple, we saw that iconic dinner with Ed, Liz, and Tiffany where Ed's daughter Tiffany was very rude to Liz. Things like this, let's roll the clip.
Why are you dating somebody that's younger than your daughter? Like, that's weird. But Liz looks older than me. She looks rugged. Botox does wonders.
Meow, am I right? Very uncalled for, very crummy thing to say about somebody, especially someone that your father could potentially spend the rest of his life with. You think you would have enough decency and respect to give someone a chance to evaluate their character as a person before you make up assumptions about them and treat them poorly. But that's one of those things to where maybe she's just that girl from high school that always sucks. But hey friends, we can't expect Tiffany to think as rationally as we do. We saw the way she treated Rosemary Vega and she wasn't nice to her either. So I'm starting to just think that this girl sucks. No lie, you guys, yesterday I rewatched my video on Big Ed that I recently posted. By the way, everyone that showed that video a lot of love, thank you so much. Within 3 days, it got over like 250,000 views. I'm really appreciative of that. Thank you so much. If you could like and comment and subscribe, that would be really cool. I love that our audience is growing. I'm really appreciative. Anyway, beside the point, I looked at that video and I think something that I really missed to touch up on was, don't you guys find it strange that Ed says he loves Liz, but he didn't stand up for Liz when his daughter was berating Liz?
This is fake.
I find that very strange because it's just one of those things to where if your daughter is acting really shitty with someone that is your partner, you would think you would have enough respect for the person you supposedly love to voice up and say something and kind of put your daughter in her place. But Ed has never done that and didn't do that throughout their entire conversation.
Awkward.
It is awkward.
It is. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually meeting a girlfriend. Really?
Why are you so quiet, Ed? You couldn't shut up in the car ride. Now all of a sudden talking to your daughter, you turn into a little simp Luz. I don't know why you're so intimidated. This girl's only 5 feet tall. If you really loved Liz, I would expect a nobody puts baby in the corner mentality. But hey, comparing you to a manly man like Patrick Swayze is like when you compare yourself to Orlando Bloom. It's a pipe dream, kid. Sit down. But as always, I love hearing your guys' opinions in the comments below. So comment below and let me know what you guys think about that. Okay, last thing, you guys, don't you find it weird how the picture with Ed is a picture of him and Rose and then it's splitting and it's just him power walking through like, oh, I got rid of that toxic ex. At what point in time was Rose a toxic ex?
I said bitch where?
I honestly found it very off-putting how Liz was talking about Rose like she was Ed's toxic ex when the roles were definitely reversed and Ed is Rose's toxic ex.
I just know how I feel at the moment and how I've been feeling towards him. That's it. I'm not Rose.
Rosemary Vega is one of the most beloved women to ever be on the show 90 Day Fiancé, and I find it hilarious that the show is going to paint Rosemary Vega as the villain or Ed's toxic ex when the roles are actually reversed, and you know for a fact that they wouldn't do that if she was the American one. Rose was the victim in that relationship. She literally did nothing wrong. Since I was a kid, my dad Nicolas Cage always told me that success is the best revenge, and for Rosemary Vega's case, she's successful. She has over 700,000 subscribers on YouTube. Go subscribe to her YouTube channel. She makes good videos, and she doesn't need the show. And I think that it's funny that they're trying to like paint her as the bad guy and everything because she doesn't need you guys. She doesn't need to be on the show. She's independent. And we live in a world to where I think that that should be celebrated. Whether it's a man or a woman, someone that is, you know, hardworking and achieves success. I look at that and I'm like proud of her. I've never met Rose, but like I love to see a boss bitch winning at life. Like that makes me happy to see. And I find it funny that it's like this show is really doing their best to make her look bad for no reason. Well, that's enough talky. Let's roll the clip right now and see what's happening in the most recent episode of The Single Life with Big Ed and Liz.
I got back from Vegas a few days ago. I took Liz out to meet my daughter Tiffany. It was really awkward.
Ed goes on to say that him and Liz had a huge fight when the cameras were off, and they actually haven't spoken in 4 days.
Yo, what's up, dudes? Yourwetsock merch is out, and it's better than ever. We have some Your Wet merch. It is brand new, limited edition, super new, holographic, 10 out of 10, rare. If you could actually send it to PSA, I'm sure it would grade as 10 out of 10. Absolutely bangs. You should go buy some right now.
I'm not sure what to do about this whole Liz situation. So I reached out to my friend Lily for some sound advice, and
Yo, real talk, what do you guys think about Ed's friend Lily? I feel like she kind of looks like Stephanie Matto a little bit, except for with different hair. And also, are they seeing each other? Like, I want to know about this because I find it kind of sus that she's had so much screen time and she's such like a good friend to Ed. Like, yo, Big Ed, are you big piping your friend Lily or nah? The people want to know.
you're a good boy, Teddy.
Hiya, Georgie.
How's your love life?
Much better than yours, I think.
Oh, bird! Oh, I wish a girl was here right now so I could kiss her and then I could be like, oh, wow! Right in her face, just like Big Ed did that last time. That's honestly the move. Next girl I kiss and make out with, I'm just gonna hit her with the oh, wow, like Mark Wiens.
I wanted to introduce Liz to Tiffany and Tiffany to Liz, so I planned a trip to Vegas.
I have ADD, it takes Ed forever to get to the point, so I'm just gonna tell you what happened really fast because we got better stuff to do with our lives. So while Big Ed and Liz were visiting Tiffany in Las Vegas, they decided to all go to a club.
Tiffany and her friends show up. It took them over half an hour to even say hello.
Next thing you know, Liz overheard Tiffany and her friends talking shit about her, and she told Ed about it, and then Ed was like, what happened, what happened, what happened? Big Ed, like the needy where's my hug guy he is, kept asking Liz, what happened? Oh my God, what happened? And Liz is like, I don't want to talk about it here because we're in the club. Let's talk about it when we get back to the hotel. But Ed kept persistently asking, what happened, what happened, what happened, like an annoying little toddler, even though Liz off rip said that she's not comfortable talking about it in this kind of setting and like to wait until we get to the hotel to talk about it, which is something reasonable that I think if she said that to anybody else, I think we would be like, okay, got it, no worries.
But how did she overhear? She didn't tell you?
She didn't tell me.
Okay.
So by the time we got to the hotel, she was upset. And Liz just stops talking. She ended up just going to bed.
Yourwetsock is the #1 Cameo creator in the entire world. Anyone says anything differently, then that person is absolute dog water and they know it.
So dude, so it's actually the next day, sorry about that. I'm trying to work on my work to life balance. So I went on a date yesterday. It was a fire date, had a really good time, but now I'm ready to continue with this video. So let's go back to reviewing Big Ed.
Well, guess what she did? She booked her flight and left me the next morning, all by myself.
No.
Yes.
He left me all by myself. Big Ed's starting to sound like such a beta hobbit. I can't even deal with this.
Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. I feel like Ed's being a bit over dramatic about the situation. Basically, Liz gone girled him and got on a flight, didn't tell him about it, and left Vegas. Liz, of course, gone girled Ed because that entire weekend in Las Vegas, she was getting bullied by Ed's daughter, Tiffany, so it's understandable why she went and did this. There's three sides of the story. There's Liz's side, there's Ed's side, and then there's the truth. And I totally understand the argument where Liz should have communicated with Ed that she was leaving because communication is very important in a relationship. Ed is a unique case, not only because of his physical appearance, because of the fact that he is very selfish and he is not really a good listener. He doesn't really validate his partner's feelings, and we can see that by the way he's treated both Liz and Rosemary Vega. Big Ed goes on to say that the way he felt when Liz left him was the same way he felt when Rose broke up with him in the Philippines. And then he goes on to play the sympathy card and he starts like tearing up. Here's the thing, buddy, all right? You've used this entire show for promos for your brand. He has stickers of himself on his backpack and he got a tattoo of himself on his leg. I don't know someone that narcissistic that gets a tattoo of their face on their leg. Like, don't get me wrong, dude, I'm kind of a narcissist and low-key kind of a jerk, but I would never get a tattoo of myself on my leg. That's incredibly tacky. Now, that being said, I feel like we're friends so we can tell each other anything. I will get a tattoo of this ugly mug on my leg, the same place where Ed has his tattoo, if we get 1 million subscribers. That's right. Once we reach 1 million, I will get a Big Ed tattoo, but it's going to be of my face. I'm not going to get his face on my leg, you guys, okay? Unless we reach 2 million subscribers, then I might get him on the other leg. Ed goes on to say that he had an anxiety panic attack. He combined the two, and he had an anxiety panic attack when Rose broke up with him, and he had the same anxiety panic attack when Liz left him in Las Vegas. Comment below and let me know what you guys think about this. Do you think Ed really had an anxiety panic attack? Because honestly, I feel like he's self-diagnosing here. He's a compulsive liar. He lied throughout his entire relationship with Rosemary Vega when he was on the show 90 Day Fiancé, and he was a creepy little sex tourist. Now he's lying with Liz and he's treating her like it's the love of his life. He's only known this girl and dated this girl for a month. The whole thing just seems so blown out of proportion. And for him to like bring mental health into it and be like, oh, I had an anxiety attack and I get anxiety when you leave me, it just comes across as clingy and needy, and he has that victimhood mindset. And I don't know why he has a victimhood mindset when he's the one that is hurting the two girls.
I want to have a conversation with her today. So I texted Liz. She's going to come over later, but I wanted to talk to you first and just try to figure this out.
Ed, Liz did not want to come to Las Vegas and meet your daughter, but you were persistent about bringing her along for this trip and kept asking her until she agreed to it. Then she goes and agrees to it, and then she's subjected to verbal abuse from your daughter, and you don't stick up for your girl. That's not love. If you really loved your partner, you would stick up for your partner when your daughter was being a to her. And it's annoying for me looking at guys like Ed because I feel like I'm the last of the Mohicans. Am I the only one that waits until I actually love somebody to say I love you? When I say I love you, that means I would die for you and I would live with you. And it's a really important thing for me, and I feel like Ed just doesn't, he doesn't have the same definition. Meanwhile, you got Ed creepily saying, I love you. Oh, I want to be with you, Muñano. And what he means by that is, I want to be in your pants. That's what that means.
And she's young. And on top of that, getting in an argument because the daughter says something? She's supposed to be an adult.
Oh yeah, valid point. Clap it up for Ed's dumb friend. Emotional intelligence should be measured by how old somebody is. That's why Ed has the emotional intelligence of a preschooler. I also think it's a tad bit hypocritical that Ed says stuff like he doesn't care about age, but he doesn't date any girl over 30. And then when his partner or potential partner does anything that he doesn't agree with, he blames it on their age, or the friend says something like, oh, she's young. Oh, she's a young girl. That's why she doesn't know how to behave properly in a relationship. Well, wait a second. Maybe she just got overwhelmed at the fact that she was berated by Ed's daughter and she felt uncomfortable with the situation and she wanted to leave. Could she have handled it better? Absolutely. But could Ed have handled it better? Absolutely. He didn't stand up for Liz one time during that confrontation with his daughter.
Who does this incompetent fool think she is? I'm starting to think she's an industry plant. I don't trust her. I don't like her face. She looks like an incredibly less good-looking version of my friend Stephanie Matto. Like, if you order my friend Stephanie Matto off Wish.com, you probably get this frumpy-looking
Can't storm out of everything. That's something my 8-year-old son does.
Okay, girly, bet, but I bet your 8-year-old son doesn't introduce his dates to his daughter on the third date, does he? Ooh, that one kind of stung, guys. I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling extra bitchy. I had 3 cups of coffee today.
Yeah, let's take it one step further. I'm willing to bet this girl's 8-year-old son has more game than Ed. I'm assuming this 8-year-old kid's a Fortnite kid, and if so, he's probably got more confidence than Ed does too, because those kids are shooters, and shooters shoot shots. I'm gonna take it one step further. If the kid plays Rust, then that kid is godly, and he's definitely a troll, and he's definitely slamming his balls. And girl, well, actually at 8 years old, probably not. I don't know about you guys. I lost my virginity at 13, so for me, 7th grade was like f***ing crazy.
Ed likes the younger women because they're fun, but Liz is not good at communication. She walks away, and that causes a lot of problems.
Ed's friend goes on to say that Ed likes younger girls, but the problem with dating younger girls is that they're emotionally not as mature as older people, which is something that I don't agree with at all. She goes on to say that at this point, Ed and Liz have 2 choices, either communicate or go their separate ways.
Or option C, eat her ass. No, but seriously, do you guys remember taking those standardized tests? I feel like whenever you don't know the answer, it's automatically C. Did anyone else do that? That's probably why I got such a low score on my SATs.
Why is love so hard?
It's not supposed to be easy. You know you can walk away, right?
I know I can walk away, but I don't want to walk away. I'm not good at relationships. That's why I haven't been in one, but...
Okay, we have a lot of things to dissect here. First of all, Ed just said that he's not good at relationships, that's why he's never been in one. No, dude, you've been in a relationship where you lied to Rosemary Vega, showed up and embarrassed yourself on national TV in front of everybody, and showed that you were a compulsive liar. Now you're lying again and saying that you've never been in a relationship. Why do you always do this? You always play the victim, and you always say things like, I've never been in a relationship. You're like trying to go for this victim mentality and get everyone to be on your side and be like, oh my gosh, we feel bad for this guy, we need to root for him. Why don't you just be honest and just be you? I feel like it's so incredibly frustrating to see somebody that is such a compulsive liar. If you were yourself, I think people would genuinely like you more. And as for your question, why is love so hard? Love is so hard because there's people like you that enter relationships in order to manipulate people and use people for sexual intercourse, and you don't actually love someone, but you tell them that you love someone. I feel like Ed had a real good shot at being in love, except for he cheated on his pregnant wife. So I think that that's the last time that this guy genuinely loves somebody. But I feel like since Ed did that, he changed his mindset to more of a clout-seeking mindset, and I think that that's the problem, and that's the reason why this guy's never going to have a successful relationship, because he's too busy prioritizing fame and fortune over actually prioritizing meeting someone and learning to love somebody.
I do love her. I'm in love with her.
You can love anybody. I have loved more than one person.
Oh yeah, you've loved more than one person? Literally no one asked. I feel like they're giving too much airtime to these side characters. Wake me up when it's over, show more clips of me and Amira, because this is boring. Yo, by the way, Andrew, my bad for stealing your girl Amira. I can't help it that French baddies really like me. Je t'aime.
I've never been with anyone that is so amazing. And when she's not next to me, I'm a mess. She's the one.
All right, did anyone else have a flashback? He literally said the exact same things about Rose. I'm not even kidding. Like, I remember verbatim everything he said, and it was the exact same. Did you guys notice the product placement? Look at Ed, has a Big Ed sticker on his backpack where he keeps Teddy. I guess he brings his dog everywhere on his Vespa scooter. I don't know how safe that is. I would never put my pet in harm's way like that. But at the same time, I don't think he actually cares about anyone other than himself. I don't think Ed actually cares about his dog Teddy. I think he just uses his dog Teddy to attract girls, which honestly I understand. Puppies are a great way to break the ice. A girl can come over and be like, oh my God, cute dog. And you can be like, yeah, you're cute. Oh, that was so cringe. I'm just going to show myself out. Next thing you know, later that night, Big Ed is getting his place ready for Liz to come over and for them to talk about their feelings, have a little heart-to-heart.
I texted Liz, and Liz agreed to come over so we can talk. And I'm really nervous.
He's going to create a romantic scenario where Liz can drop her guard, hopefully have a couple glasses of that wine, let her guard down, and the next thing you know, he's going to try and snuggle with her and say that he loves her. I haven't watched the episode yet, but I know that this is going to happen because that's what Ed does. That's his formula.
Everything reminds me of her, like everything. Every song. I'm in my bedroom, my sheets smell like her. I love Liz. I want to be with her.
Okay, Ed, you're starting to sound like a lovesick teenager, my guy. It's not that serious. You guys have known each other for a month. Pump the brakes, please, because the rest of us are absolutely gagging. Honestly, if you guys ever catch me saying I've known this girl for a month and she's my soulmate and I love her, please do me a favor and punch me in the face.
Vegas was tricky. Dinner with Tiffany was tense. I definitely didn't feel comfortable talking to her.
Liz goes on to say that her time spent with Tiffany was less than stellar, and we can all see why from the last video. If you guys haven't seen the previous video I made on the subject, definitely go watch after this video because it absolutely banged. Now, as bad as that dinner was, what happened at the club was worse because Tiffany was surrounded by her girlfriends and they were all talking crap about Liz and saying things like, can't you be with someone your age? They were saying a lot of hurtful things like that about Liz, but they were doing so in a way to where it reminded you of Mean Girls or like of high school all over again, where the popular girls were like giggling, laughing, pointing. And to have that mean girl mentality at 30 years old, I think that that's very embarrassing for Tiffany. She should be ashamed of herself. And I find it incredibly ironic that she works in real estate, a job where you have to be personable and social and greet people with a smile and be welcoming. Instead of all the cheerful traits I just mentioned, Tiffany has none of those and she actually sucks. So I'm sure she's a terrible real estate agent in Las Vegas.
When Ed was asking me what was going on, I didn't want to open up about it, but he kept pushing for it, and he really kept pushing it to the point where I went online, bought a ticket to go home because of how he was acting at night.
Liz goes on to say that out of respect for Ed, she didn't want to talk about what she was experiencing with Tiffany, and Ed was insistent that she talks about it and constantly kept asking her to spill the beans. Liz thought this was a huge turnoff because she kept saying to Ed, hey, I don't want to talk about it, but Ed was very persistent, and it got to the point where Liz just said, you know what, screw it, I'm going to buy a ticket and go back to California, which is understandable because Ed does not show the same respect for Liz that she shows for him.
When you left, I actually had a panic attack.
That's a lot of pressure to put on someone that has anxiety, Ed, is to say that when she left, you had a panic attack. Comment below and let me know what you guys think. Do you think that Ed actually had a panic attack, or do you think no because he has a history of being a compulsive liar? I don't really believe that he had a panic attack personally. I think that Ed lies about a lot of stuff. Liz goes on to say that she feels bad for leaving Ed in Las Vegas, but her defense mechanism is to shut down and leave from whatever toxic situation she finds herself in.
You're a really good person. You're a really good boyfriend. You don't listen. but I know I could open up more.
I feel like the whole time Liz was trying to open up and talk about how she felt when she left him and her anxiety, Ed was waiting to tell her that he had a panic attack when she left. I honestly think because of Ed's physical appearance, he uses it to make everyone think that he's the victim and plays the victim card way too much. And for that point, I think he would be way more likable if he didn't do that, because when you use like a physical impairment to try and manipulate everybody, it just comes across so not genuine.
Am I who you want to be with? And I mean, like, not today, not next week. Am I your forever?
Yo, homie, after 1 month and 2 trips, you're really gonna say, am I your forever? Oh my God, am I the love of your life after I've known you for a month? Could you imagine hearing this, ladies and gentlemen? Wow, you know what my forever is? My forever is sushi and Miller Lite. Those are my forever. They're my forever. I'm in love with them, and I'm never gonna change. And you know what? Everybody else that I meet is underneath sushi and beer. Facts.
I feel like the relationship was very rushed, but yeah, I want you. But as far as forever, I don't think that's a fair question to ask me still so soon.
You know what the relationship's kind of like? Remember that old song, Don't You Want Me to Be? You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when I met you. Remember that one? I don't know about y'all, but I love 80s music and also 80s movies. It seems like such a fun time to be alive. If you were born in the 80s, can you like comment what it was like? Because I'm insanely jealous.
Would Teddy be mad if you came over and sat by me?
I'll go over there.
I just want to be next to you.
Do you think Teddy would be mad if you came over and snuggled with me? Like, I can't. It's so cringy that I just can't believe that he's a real person. And even though I'm his dating coach, I can still say that because I'm his dating coach. We're friends. We're very close, obviously. But Ed, you need to work on not being as clingy as you are. I think, honestly, the most off-putting thing about Ed for me is that he's a clingy guy that has ulterior motives, which those two together is such a disgusting combination in my opinion. Like, that's enough to make me want to vomit, because I don't know about you guys, but I love brutal honesty. I'm always going to be a brutally honest person. I'm never going to change for anybody. So it's one of those things to where it's like, if you're not like that, I already don't like you. But when you try to manipulate people or you try to like portray yourself a certain way that you're not, it just comes across as super fake. What can I say? The birds were singing and this couple was finally starting to rebuild their connection and communicate. And just when we thought everything was going well, Liz actually posted that they were broken up on Instagram. And this is what she said. This is the picture. What can I say? No one's happy about this. No one saw this coming. I thought this couple was really going to go the distance. I even said that in my last video. I did. I predicted that they would break up. But here's what Liz said on Instagram. Liz posted this picture on Instagram. It's probably the most fire angle of Big Ed I've ever seen. I don't think I've seen him look better in any other photo. And the caption reads, "Even though our paths have led us separate ways, you'll always be a great memory. Heartbreak emoji, heart emoji. Enjoy the rest of the season." When I saw this news that my favorite couple broke up, I just didn't know how to handle it. You guys, I went on Instagram and I tagged my friends Arthur TV and Sauceaholic, and here's what I said. "My heart is broken. Liz and Ed were such a 1 in a million love story. Deadass never saw this coming," with a bunch of crying emojis because I was very upset. And I played that song Break Even by The Script. Very emotional song. And I was very emotional at the time. I was in my feelings. So Big Ed and Liz are broken up, and all the ladies, you guys are positively wet right now because that means that Big Ed is back on the big market and someone is gonna grab him because he's a catch and he's gonna take such good care of one of you sugar babies. He's gonna pull you close and kiss you, and then after he's gonna say, "Oh wow," in your face like Mark Weens. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Comment below, subscribe. Follow me on Twitch and on Instagram right now.